Hello everyone. Welcome back to, I believe, the Doomlink's Life Hunt series. Things are looking a little different, as you can see. This is indeed the 3DS version of Monster Hunter. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about this particular recording, and the reason why is because I'm currently in battle. I'm doing battle with some background noise at the moment. The way in which I'm actually counteracting it is by making the game much louder. I don't think that's really going to work so well when I actually am in a hunt. Maybe it will, I don't know, maybe I can get the balance right, but that is the way in which I am dealing with the background noise. It's basically inside the building, and it's, you know, being transferred directly into my apartment. It's hammering and drilling, sometimes simultaneously, so I'm just having to avoid that as we speak, but it's much less audible if I make the game volume much louder. Now, I am in a room at the moment. I will show you that I do have two other people to play with here. Indeed, this is the 3DS version of Monster Hunter Ultimate. That is the name of the game. Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, to give it its full name, so as not to be confusing. Yeah, it's actually more stable and generally more comfortable to play than the Wii U version, which is pretty sad, but not entirely inexplicable. As most of you will know, the Wii U version of Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate was a really poorly done port. It was terrible. Yes, I do remember you, Cavenator. I suspect you have changed a little bit over the years. You're a bit older now. But welcome back, I suppose. I wasn't expecting that. Making sure, yeah, I guess the camera's fine. These guys are on a quest in a typical Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate fashion. I can't actually see what quest they're on, which is funny, but, ugh. Do not need a bad hair day right now. But yeah, sod's law, I don't go live for an entire week, and then on the day I go live, I get terrible background noise, but, you know, it is quieter now than it has been the entire time since I sat down, so that's a good sign, perhaps. Maybe their work is coming to an end. I mean, I actually don't really believe that. That is just, I guess, wishful thinking that you're hearing there. Alright, so because I actually don't know what quest they're on, and because they... well, I can actually talk to them. I might say hello to them. I don't know if you... no, you can't actually see the chat. Do you see this empty black space in the top right corner of the screen? I've actually got a floating chat window in there, but because it is technically a different window, it's difficult to show it at the same time as the other window, which is the game window. It would basically require that I have an additional thing to make visible every time I go to this screen. I wouldn't be able to just make it visible at the same time. I don't know if you can attach windows to one another in OBS, but that sort of feature sounds a little bit too powerful, to be honest. So I'm going to assume that they don't have that option. But yeah, I will be able to check the chat at all times. I just need to actually look at the damn thing, because I wasn't. I have two chats to observe. But yeah, they're currently on a quest. I can see that they've mentioned capturing. I see captura. They seem to be... I actually think Portuguese, based on one of the letters that I'm seeing. It's an O with a little stroke on it. It's like a backwards accented O, which I think is Portuguese rather than Spanish, but... or I could be wrong. But... yeah, maybe if they're mentioning the capturing of a monster, it means that they're coming to the end of the confrontation. I don't know. The background noise has largely ceased, but again, it might just come back again at full fucking volume, at which point I can only pray that it's not particularly audible. But yeah, don't go listening for it now, because it's not there at all, which is very good news. I may actually reduce the volume of the game now as a result. I actually don't even know what an appropriate game level is at this point. I've gone and confused myself. But yeah, I will go back to the top screen. while I'm here waiting for these people, well, I will actually mention. I'll mention in my Discord chat that the stream is going, like well and truly going. I sent a message in my Discord saying that the live stream was cancelled because I decided that the scenario and the situation itself was entirely unsalvageable, but I've changed my mind. I will grit my teeth through it, but by the sounds of it, it's come to an end, which is really good news. But like I said, I have no way of knowing that, so there's a bit of uncertainty there, particularly when you're trying to do a live recording. So this is the 3DS version of Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate. You will see that in some ways it actually looks better than what I was showing you before, because there is no bloom. This is all without the bloom effect, so you can actually see a lot more detail. Things that previously were just really, really bright, and perhaps even unpleasant to look at, are a bit more muted, but not in any way washed out. The colours are still quite rich, but you're not getting that totally unnecessary glowing effect that you would get from bloom. It has to be said that Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate's amount of bloom was far less extreme as compared with Monster Hunter Tri, but bloom in general is shit and doesn't really add anything of value to the visual appearance of a game. So, quite frankly, it's better to just have it removed entirely. That is the situation. Yeah, Citra is working just fine. It will always work just fine. I've actually got the... It was interesting. Literally, I think 3 or 4 days before Citra was discontinued effectively, I did pick up the latest nightly version, because, as you'll know, or maybe it wasn't entirely related to the shutdown, but it felt for me that the action taken against Yuzu was in some way linked to the timing of the shutdown of online functionality for the Wii U and the 3DS. So, consequently, I was also at that time getting ready for the shutdown, and I had everything set up for Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate here, and that actually involved the downloading of the latest Citra Nightly version, because I wanted to make use of the new Vulkan features, which I believe takes better advantage of whatever graphics card you have in your system. It may also work better with the CPU. I don't know. I seem to recall that only one core of your CPU could be utilized by Citra when rendering anything, which is quite frankly ridiculous, but maybe that's not the case anymore. I don't know. If it is still the case, then at least, as far as I'm aware, the GPU is now assisting with the rendering, which results in better performance, generally speaking. It's just more stable, which is what we want, isn't it? The thing with Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate is that it is entirely locked to 30 FPS, or rather it needs to be locked to 30 FPS in order to function. If you... the background noise is coming back, but I'll be ready for it, don't worry. Yeah, the thing with Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate specifically is that if you try to let it run at 60 FPS, the game just crashes. It doesn't work properly at all. It is unplayable, so you have to lock it at 30 FPS. So you're going to be largely seeing the same frame rate here as you would in the Wii U version. You can see things are generally looking different here. The icons are a little bit different. I have to say that this is not the vanilla visual experience, what you're seeing here. The original and unmodified visual appearance of the game looks like an ugly fucking cartoon. It just looks terrible. This is an HD version, and yeah, okay, I can see that we're doing Baleful and Standard Giganox, so it's a double quest. You can't actually see that because it's appearing on the bottom screen. I can manually go and show it to you this way, but that's really annoying to do, so I may not do that. They're saying hello to me. I'm just letting them know that I'm changing weapons, so that they don't have to wonder whether or not I'm actually coming. I actually got Departed Without yesterday, in this game, emulated. Not much of a surprise, like I say, it's a community-wide phenomenon, it's not specific to one particular game. But yeah, like I was in the room for a good 3 minutes, I was literally standing next to them while they had the quest ready to go, and then I left to change weapons, and by the time I came back they had departed. I basically unloaded on them in the chat, and then this morning I woke up to find them sending a message to me in Hunsterverse saying, "Oh, sorry, we weren't reading the chat." It doesn't have anything to do with whether or not you were reading the chat. It has everything to do with you opening your eyes, seeing I'm in the room, seeing I'm standing next to you, and then realizing that it might be nice to depart with me. That is the situation. But yeah, it just means that nothing has changed in that regard. I have to take care to ensure that I'm letting everyone know that I'm indeed departing with them on their quests, and they don't need to completely disregard the fact that I'm in the room. Alright, so what will I use? Let's just use Lance. I'm not really concerned one way or the other. Well, no, I think they have different elemental weaknesses, so maybe I'll bring... Yeah, okay, let's do... Awaken. Do you know what? I'm going to show you this bottom screen so you can see how unpleasant it is to actually go back and forth between the different armor sets in this game. So the only way for me to get into sets 1 to 8, 9 to 16, 17 to 24 is to actually manually go through them like this. It's terrible. I can't just go from page to page. It's nothing as convenient as that. So this is the situation. I have to do this business. Awaken Lance, Gun Lance, that's what we want. Yeah, that's more uncomfortable as compared to the Wii U version. A very, very small example of a quality of life improvement from version to version. But, yeah, I have to tell you that this game does not run anywhere near as well on the Wii U as compared to this version of the game. Yeah, the camera is slightly different, the appearance is going to be slightly different, because I'm recording the top screen specifically. You can see that everything is just a little bit... It's just not the same, is it? It's just not the same. My food is on the bottom screen as well. Again, you're going to be noticing that. You've probably already experienced that with Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate recordings, where not everything that you're seeing on the main top screen is actually visible. You're now going to be seeing that in this game as well. It's one of the things that is annoying about the Nintendo 3DS. It is not a very good system for recording. It never has been. It's because it is never going to look good to have both screens visible at the same time. At least not in my opinion. It's less immersive, because you're either going to have a proper sized screen like what you're seeing now, but not able to visually see the rest of the game, or you're going to be dealing with smaller screens, which, again, less immersive, because you're having to like squint at the fucking game to see what's going on. Long story short, the 3DS is only good if you're going to physically play on it. It sucks to record, so I've always looked at the 3DS in that context. And that's without even considering how borderline impossible it was to record the physical 3DS in the past. You know, there wasn't even an option to record the game audio. Your only recourse at that stage would be to get a physical modification in your 3DS in order to record the video, and then you just have to use some microphone recording the speakers. It was a complete shit show to record that system. And even if you had gone to all of that effort, it would look and sound like complete fucking bunkum. That is the 3DS console, and quite frankly, even in the best case scenario when you're sitting there playing the 3DS in your hands, it neither feels good nor looks good, in my opinion. And yes, I did have the new 3DS XL. So, quite frankly, that entire system can suck my dick, and I'm happy to say that I'm not going to be playing it anymore. Not that I was playing it recently, you know, that was a decision that I made long ago. But, sorry, I just had to get that out. You can see that when I ready up, it doesn't actually blink above my head. The way that you can see that you're readied up is the bottom screen becomes that. You can't see the other people in the room anymore. That's how, like, that is your visual indicator that you are readied up, which is stupid. It's confusing. Why? You know, blinking thing about, oh, okay, it's because the connection was lost, I see. I don't know if that was on my side or on their side. I've actually been pretty good with my connectivity up until this point. Just in Monster Hunter. Okay, it looks like they changed the hub or something. Let's hope that we can get this reorganized quickly. yeah, I'm not sure why they closed the hub. Maybe the host disconnected or something like that. This is one thing that we're going to have to navigate as we do emulation in these games. There's going to be more disconnects. I actually don't think that it has to do with the stability or lack thereof when it comes to connecting online through the emulator. I think it has more to do with the people you're going to play with and the higher likelihood that their internet is going to be shit. That is my genuine observation based on anecdotal experiences. For example, I find that most of the people who are playing these games emulated these days are doing so on a phone, and the people who are playing video games on a phone are quite likely to have a terrible internet setup as well. It's one of those things. But yeah, that is my experience that I can share with you. I wish there was a smoother transition between the screens that I could do for you, but anyway. So it does blink above the head. It was just the disconnect that caused that before. So yeah, I was about ready to give you a whole spiel on the fact that it doesn't blink above your head and the fact that that is inconceivably stupid for them to not allow it to blink above your head. But yeah, obviously I don't have as much experience in 3DS version, so I was ready to say those things. You'll see that the bottom loading screen is still as it was in the original version. It's looking a little bit bad there, and by bad I mean low FPS, low frame rate. But yeah. You'll see that my microphone setup has returned to a previous incarnation of the setup. You know, this is how it's going to stay. I know it looks like I'm constantly going back and forth, but I've realized that the sound is just not good enough. If I pull it further away from my mouth, I want it to sound good and also be non-obstructive. So this is pretty much the best way for me to do that. That's what I've decided. I probably should have gone to where the other Giganox was. They're currently in combat with one of them, but I could have actually gone to where the other one was and paintballed that one. But that is not how that played out. Alright, game volume. No, I can actually bump that up a little bit more. Jeez, this is a noisy Giganox. Alright, so consider this almost like a test recording. This is the first time I've actually recorded this game, so like on the 3DS, so we'll see how it plays out. Hopefully it looks fine. Obviously it's going to look a little bit different to the Wii U version. Pretty sure I was on target there. Yeah, of course you've got the much larger user interface, heads-up display. Your health and stamina bar is going to be stretching all the way across the screen this time. A dog is dead. He is a dead dog. I don't know if that counts as a joke, but it is alliteration at least. You'll also notice the rather pixelated item selection. You'll just have to live with that. The clock also looks a bit sad, we'll say. It's not, it's asymmetrical is how I would describe it. As for why it looks like that, I just don't know, but it's still an improvement. Well, it feels weird to say an improvement, seeing as though this came first chronologically, but it is better than the 4 Ultimate clock. The 4 Ultimate clock is just balls to the wall excrement on the screen. Like, that is just what it is. It's like smeared excremental discharge on my 3DS screen. But, yeah, we don't need to get into that. I did actually install an HD version, or like an HD mod, to the 3DS version, and I decided it looked like shit. So, or rather, 4 Ultimate. So in 4 Ultimate I installed an HD version, I decided it looked like shit. I kept a very small amount of it, so I got rid of the majority of it. Fortunately, it was split into multiple different files. I basically kept one file, just to... What the hell was that? That was a strange maneuver from the Giganox. Yeah, this is a little baleful. But, yeah, long story short, I've got, like, the full HD mod for this version of Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate. But the 4 Ultimate game, I only have like one file, which has changed a small number of things. For the better, because it's a more curated or tailored version of it than the standard version, because I've deleted most of it. But yeah, I'm not going to be doing any side-by-side comparisons for your benefit, but just believe me when I say that a lot of things were changed visually that didn't need to be changed in the 4 Ultimate HD version, which I was not really a fan of. And also the icons looked unnecessarily cartoonish. So I wasn't happy with that either. Like, for example, the loading screen in the HD version of 4 Ultimate, the mod, I should say. I shouldn't say HD version, that sounds rather official, doesn't it? But the HD mod that has been doing the rounds in the HD project. And I say this not to be in any way dismissive of the person doing the work. I thank them for the work that they do, and don't mean to put a damper on the time and effort that they've put into it, but the loading screen of 4 Ultimate already looked quite nice. You know, what I would instead like is the same thing, but with nicer looking textures, like something more high resolution, but instead it's like a static image that's awkwardly pasted over the top of what was originally there, and it just looks worse. It's really colourful and really different. I think we're going to fail this quest, I can smell it. I mean, I'll survive this, but if I get comboed, we're in trouble. I don't bring dung bombs in this game, so, you know, it's just not working out. What's really not working out is Dog. Dog is having a problem. He's, his reaction to the situation has been a sad face in the chat, which is probably apt. This whole quest has just gone south. At least we've got one of them limping. That's going to make life much easier. I was going to say, actually, that the reason why we're close to failure is because we're fighting 2 of them, but I think Dog may have died before the Baleful had arrived. Or at least on the first occasion of his death. Or of a dying. Occasion of a dying, that is a phrase. But, yeah, the first time he died, I think it was just the standard Giganox that we were fighting, but I could be wrong. I might be remembering that incorrectly. I'm trying to juggle a lot of thoughts in my head. I suspect that was a lag compensation flinch, but anyway. I suppose you'd call that a knockdown, wouldn't you? Not a flinch, that's not quite right. It's weird to call it a knockdown because he literally rolls over on his back, but effectively it is a knockdown. It is a form of knockdown that is specific to the Giganox. Alright, get off me. You've had enough to eat. But yeah, I have to stress that if you in any way think that what you're seeing here is a visual downgrade to the Wii U version, let me assure you, beyond peradventure, that the unmodified version of 3DS Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate looks like absolute crap. It is pathetic when you look at it in comparison to the Wii U version. It's actually sad. I feel bad for the game. You know, it's like looking at something that is just so hopelessly ugly and, you know, yet it still continues to exist somehow. That is what the unmodified version of 3 Ultimate looks like. So, you know, this actually looks quite similar to the Wii U version, and they do take a lot of textures from the Wii U version for this HD mod. Like, for example, the textures on this Giganox, they are taken, I believe, from Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate on the Wii U version. So, that's the idea. A lot of the Wii U textures have been put in this mod. Now, not everything looks perfect. Like, for example, that sharpness meter, that looks like shit, but not everything has been changed, that's the point. So yeah, it might be a visual downgrade, but it could be much worse. It really could be much worse. And I have a lot of thanks that I can extend to the people who worked on the HD version of the HD mod of this game. They have done an excellent service to the community by sparing us from this ugly 3DS version. But yeah, as I said, it actually runs better. Just in general. less frame drops, for fuck's sake. Less frame drops, and I guess, I don't even know how else to describe it. I guess, like, for example, the Gen Moran fight, you're not glitching all over the screen in this version like you would be in the Wii U version. That's just an example. Things that just don't run quite right, things that could be smoother and less cumbersome, are better here. So, yeah, I think when you play a more stable version of the game, that's when you can truly see how unstable the Wii U version was. Although I think most people could see how unstable and how poorly done it was. But anyway. You know, I'm not going to say that it's easy to port a 3DS game over to the Wii U. It's probably not, but to be honest, you just take more time to get it right, don't you? The point is that they didn't. They really didn't. Okay. But yeah, that was a really rough start to this fight, but it looks like we have solved whatever difficulties we were experiencing, and I think that really was just the killing of the first Giganox. We had to deal with both of them simultaneously. I didn't have any dung bombs on hand, and it was getting a bit tight, a bit dangerous. But as I suggested when I was playing the Wii U version up until the servers closed, I don't actually know how often I'm going to be able to play this game live. I really have no expectations of frequent recordings. It just depends on the community. It depends on who is playing this game. And it does vary. You know, sometimes you'll have a few people playing, sometimes you won't have many. The way in which I'm going to try to have an influence on that scenario is by, in my own time, hunting with people as frequently as I can in this game. So if I find people who are high rank, I'll give them a hand. I don't know if I'm going to help low rank people, that might be going a bit too far. But, you know, just contributing to their progression so that on the occasion that I decide to record a live stream, there's a likelihood of people that I've already helped in the past still playing through the game, still wanting to progress. And that's what we want. These guys are pretty much in the end game of G rank. They are HR broken past HR 8, and that really is the best case scenario. There's 2 of them. The only thing is I've got no idea how long they are going to play, and what that means is that once they stop playing, it is entirely conceivable that I will not have someone else to play with. That's just what happens. So that's pretty much where the lack of stability to the live stream exists, or the lack of consistency to the length of the recording. So, for example, if I didn't have any more people to play with here, suddenly I might, in the same live stream, have to go and play for Ultimate. It would just depend on who's playing what. So, that's how we would navigate the situation. In other words, in more simplistic terms, you might see more instances of me changing games mid-livestream, just to accommodate the availability of hunters and whatever they're doing. So we do actually have a 4th person playing now. I don't know if they've been able to join the room. I don't believe I got a notification for that during the fight. But also, you can't actually... Oh no, you can see how many I have received in this top screen, but you can't actually see how many are in the box from the top screen. So if I go to here, that's not really how I want to do that transition. You can see that on the bottom screen, indeed, you can see how many are in the box. So there you have it. It's also a little bit annoying that I am physically in the way. Oh, my box is actually full. How about that? I will have to do some work. That was indeed a Gold Crown Small Baleful Giganox. Our 4th hunter, I don't know if they are having trouble joining or what. Who have we got here? So we've got Renner and Dog, so it is DK Zittos which is an interesting name. I think they're saying that they need to make a new tavern or a new hall. They're saying taverna. So, yeah, I can assume that that means tavern in whatever language they're speaking. I genuinely can't tell the difference between Spanish and Portuguese visually. I can't. I mean, I can have my guesses, and my guess is that they're speaking in Portuguese, but I can't know that for sure. But it looks Portuguese. So yeah, I'm in a sort of awkward position here where I am actually out of space here. So I'm going to sell these, and possibly other things that I don't need, because it really depends on the armor set that I've chosen and what kind of decorations are going to be taken out of the box or added to the box as I swap sets around. So that's really what's taking up a lot of space here. It's all these bloody decorations. But they're important. I do need those, so that's staying the way it is. I might just leave it like that for now. That'll be good enough. I really don't like the size of the font here. Like, obviously you can see that the text here, despite being much more pleasant to look at than the original text that was here, the size just isn't quite right. There's a lot of empty space here, so that's one way in which I would... Like, for example, that's a little bit more appropriate. The text on the right side there, that fits the space a little bit more. The positioning of it is not quite right. I would center it a little bit more, particularly the top one, as opposed to the bottom one. The bottom one needs a little bit of space for that apostrophe, but the center one can move, or rather the top one can move a little bit more to the center. But, you know, I don't know if they have the option of editing it to that extent. I don't know. It's very easy to sit here as the person playing the game and then make comments on how things can be improved, but I've got no idea how difficult it is to actually do the mod in the first place. So rather than judging from the sidelines, I will just thank them for their work, I suppose. I'm going to ask this guy if he's coming. I don't know what they're actually discussing, because it's not in a language that I can understand. But it looks like they're not particularly interested in making a new room, so I'm guessing it's not because... Oh no, he's Hunter Rank 1. Never mind. Look, sorry, guy, but I'm not doing HR1 quests with you, particularly not when I'm live. This is a situation where if these guys actually chose to start doing HR1 quests with him, I'd go and play a different game, because I'm not doing that shit. Do you think that's going to be entertaining for me to sit here and do HR1 quests? I don't think so. They're doing Giganox. I will choose something different. I'll go Greatsword. How about Awaken Greatsword? That's not Awaken Greatsword, don't it? That is Awaken Greatsword. Yeah, I don't necessarily have anything against helping people, but when they're at HR1, it's... your eyes start to glaze over and it's just like... No, I don't want to take on that sort of time investment right now, especially when you've done it so many times. I know it looks like I'm not very willing to help people, but that's because every time you watch me play this game, I'm doing a live stream. You know, like I'm not... Keep in mind, I've got nothing to do in this game, so I'm more than happy to help people. It's just that, depending on what they need help with, that is actually going to determine whether the live stream is entertaining or not. And there's nothing entertaining about helping a guy with HR1 stuff, I'm sorry, it's just not. It's not good. Not good live streaming. Ugh. I've been very fortunate with that background noise. It did not last long. This is not like the old days of Bob the Builder. I don't know if any of you were watching in the days of Bob the Builder, but my god, he would go for hours and hours and hours on end. That was about 25 minutes of misery, which fortunately has ceased. And I'm very lucky, because that means I can actually do my live stream. I suspected that it was possible that it wouldn't go for very long, but like I said, you just can't know. It could be going for 10 minutes, or it could be going for the entire day, with small breaks. So, Alright, we're doing triple Giganox. I'm not going the right way. I mean, it's good of you to follow me. I should actually know where the hell I'm going. If this... I could have actually continued in that direction, to be honest with you. Oh, he's not in that spot. Oh, okay. See, I haven't done triple Giganox in a long time. It seems that he starts in the outside area. Unless Renna is in confrontation with a different monster, which is possible. It could be Lagombi or something like that. No, it is actually Giganox. Okay. That is fine. Ooh, Jesus. That was some nice connectivity there. Whoever is hosting this needs to not be hosting this. Which is Renna. Renna needs to not be hosting any monsters anymore. This is terrible. Presumably the host system for the 3DS version is the first person to engage the monster in confrontation. I probably shouldn't have actually brought Awakened Greatsword, because this is indeed a monster that requires high-grade earplugs in order to resist the roar. Not very well thought out, Doomlink. That's alright. You are distracted by other things, I suppose. But yeah, it probably doesn't need to be said. I will say it anyway. I feel very fortunate that I'm able to continue playing this game online. It's amazing. You know, the opportunity to use the same character to be able to hunt with people is an excellent remedy to the unfortunate situation of the Wii U servers being closed. Of course, we can hope for the Pretendo servers to give us the opportunity to play the Wii U version again, but I don't know if I will play the Wii U version again. This is the point. I don't want to be playing with two different saves. I want just the one save that I'm working on. I know that I said that I don't have anything to do in this game anymore, really, but that doesn't mean that I don't want to continue building on my character. You know, I'm getting an increased HR level as I continue to play, and, you know, there are other things on my guild card that will reflect the amount of time that I'm putting into the game. I don't want to, say, go back to the Wii U version and have the old save. It is obviously possible for me to move the saves back and forth, but that would quite literally involve getting this save onto the 3DS and then the 3DS save onto the Wii U. So I'm not doing that back and forth. That's fucking stupid. So I think even if the Pretendo servers will allow me to play the Wii U version again with online connectivity, I don't think I'll be doing that. I'm not going there. What I would love to do, and this is an interesting topic, it's not a lengthy one, I will just say that it is not only my intention to do this at some point, but it is actually possible for me to do it. I want to take my Generations Ultimate save, convert it to a double cross save, and play emulated. Because there's a pretty strong community of people playing double cross in the emulated version. It's definitely the strongest community out of all of the emulated 3DS Monster Hunter games, and I really want to be able to contribute to that. You know, I have an HR 999 save in Generations Ultimate, and I want to be able to have the freedom to go back and forth between all of the 3DS games here. But I can't at the moment, because I've got a Nintendo Switch save. It is possible to get that save off the Nintendo Switch if you install custom firmware on the Switch, and it is indeed possible to convert the save file from Generations Ultimate to Double Cross using a Double Cross save editor. Now, I don't know how difficult that's going to be. I just know that it's possible. So, yeah. Because it's likely going to be a very lengthy process, a lengthy procedure, I'm not expecting to have it done anytime soon. But it is on the cards as a future opportunity for me to play with the Double Cross community. I don't know how long you've actually been able to do that, but it is possible. People have been doing it. The Double Cross save editor now has official support for converting the save file from Generations Ultimate to Double Cross, and, you know, there are conversations that people are having publicly in the GitHub of that particular save editor, where they are helping each other out to get it working. So I think that if I were to get started with it, I'd be able to work out how to successfully get it done. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be an easy process. I'm not worried about losing a save file or anything like that. I would obviously back everything up as best I could, but yeah. My concerns are more to do with the amount of time it's going to take. The result will be worth it, but for the moment I do have 3 Ultimate and 4 Ultimate to play. And I do have a lot of people that I can play with. It's just not always going to be consistent. Obviously, when I'm here recording a live stream, I need to have people to play with at that time. I wasn't actually sure if I was going to be able to play 3 Ultimate when I sat down today. I was expecting to do 4 Ultimate. There are a lot more people playing 4 Ultimate than 3 Ultimate, and there are a lot more people playing Double Cross than 4 Ultimate. But yeah, 4 Ultimate was my expectation, but then I saw that there were these guys, Dog and Renner, actually playing 3 Ultimate, so I decided to get set up for this game, and yeah, it's entirely coincidental that they were here playing, in other words, and I'm able to avail myself of the fact that they are here and playing for a live stream, but this is not always going to happen. We'll see how things go in the future. Yeah, so, of course, I am playing the Switch version of Generations Ultimate, Willy, but if I am already emulating all of these 3DS Monster Hunter games, I would like to be able to just go back and forth between different ones. I want to be able to have my Generations Ultimate save file in Double Cross, and if I can convert it, I'll be able to do that. You know, I don't have anything wrong with playing on the Switch, but, I mean, that community is shit. I don't want to... I don't want anyone to be under any illusions as to how I feel about that community. The Switch community can go fuck itself. They are idiots, and I don't like playing with any of them. But, you know, physically playing on the Switch is fine and comfortable. But if I'm already emulating 3 Ultimate and 4 Ultimate on the 3DS, and I can pretty much just shift over to a different room to play Double Cross with people, I'd like to have the opportunity to do that as well. That'd be good. So in other words, it's a community-related reason. It's not to do with the game version or anything like that, it's just there is a community in the same space as where I'm playing right now, playing Double Cross, which is better than me taking the time to go and turn on my Switch. I nearly said switch on my Switch. That's just an indication of how terrible that is as a name for a console, but yeah. I literally can't even use the term switch on, because then I would just sound ridiculous. A hydrate redeem. That's quite funny. Drunken Fist says, I know you hate point redeems, but have you considered at least a hydrate redeem since you consume alcohol on stream? Your viewers care. First of all, I'm not actually drinking alcohol right now, although I do expect to shortly. Second of all, I do hydrate very well. Thank you for your concern. It's kind of essential if you drink a lot of alcohol that you have a routine for hydrating properly. It usually takes place after I've finished my recording, but on occasion I do hydrate on camera as well. But yeah, I'm not against the redemption of points, it's just... I guess it's a low priority for me to set it up. I don't even, you see, I haven't, the last time I was watching Twitch live streams, there was no point system, so I don't even understand what it is, or how it really works, or how other Twitch streamers use it. Just for those who haven't listened to my explanation as to why I neither care, nor am willing at this stage to put the time into having point redemptions, it's because you're already here watching my live stream. That is the reason why you are here. The reason is not to play a fucking video game-esque thing on the side, where there's points and other reward systems. It's weird, it's strange, it's trivializing the experience, and it's not, there's just no business for it to exist, you know? I shouldn't need to grab your attention, or have your viewership in any way incentivized by some fucking point system. It's just bizarre. It just speaks to a very muddied situation in the streaming world. But oh look, they're going to do an HR1 quest, the Merchant's Mission. I mean, I understand why they want to help this guy out, but he's HR1. Do it yourself, you know. In my opinion, if you're in low rank, I mean, you can see this person has literally just started the game, has done no offline content whatsoever, and wants us to do their HR1 quests. I think that's complete bullshit. I think what you should be doing, instead of inflicting your shit onto us, I mean, we're hunting in G rank, having a perfectly good time. You haven't even touched the game yet. Instead of inflicting that on us, what you could potentially do is play the damn game offline, get a character set up, and then you would have no difficulties whatsoever soloing all of the starting content of the online here in this game. And then, when you're posting quests, they would actually be at least high rank level, which would be considerably less miserable than having to do low rank quests for your benefit. Not only that, but what? We need to then help you get a low rank set as well, unless you intend to use the leather set for the entirety of low rank. It's just not practical. I understand that maybe if you were to view that in a vacuum, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's not in a vacuum. The context is that I've probably helped countless numbers of people. I'm not even going to estimate the number. I've been playing this game for more than 10 years. You know, the number of individual people I've had to help along this process means that I don't want to fucking start literally from zero with you again, particularly not when I'm live. So it would be nice if you actually did something with your damn character instead of just leaving it to us to carry you through the goddamn game. Anyway. The bottom line is I'm not doing this guy's quests. I have fairly robustly explained why I'm not going to be doing that. And, it just puts me in an awkward situation. Do you see what I mean? Like, this one guy, this one individual, has caused a situation where I'm probably going to have to no longer continue playing this game live right now, because he has basically forced upon us his quests to have done. I mean, he could be a friend of theirs, I don't know. They're all speaking the same language, so they may be perfectly willing to carry him through the game, but I don't see why I should have to do that. I suppose the point is, I don't have to do that, but it's unfortunate because these guys are the only ones playing right now. And if I stop playing with them, that's it. I have to go and play a different game, which is probably going to be 4 Ultimate. Yeah, let's do Gunlands. 4 to Gunlands. I presume it's the Plesioth Gunlands? Yes. Deviathan Gunlands. That's a pretty cool name. Not that I really need to make that comment. Pretty much all of the weapon names are very cool in 3 Ultimate. Courtesy of the sterling work that the translation team did. But for those of you who have watched the whole live stream up until this point, you will see that this is more chaotic than it would otherwise be. It's just, that is the situation. That is literally what the, 3 Ultimate and 4 Ultimate live streams are going to be now. I have no choice. It's just, if you're able to play on an actual console, you've got a wide variety of rooms to join, and you're always going to be able to sustain that 2-hour-long live stream without jumping around. It's just not going to happen here with this community, so there's going to be jumping around. Ow. Try and get a Wyvern Fire out. I'll block this and then get it out. That's the best way to approach it. The sooner you get out your Wyvern Fire, the sooner it's going to recharge. Effectively, the sooner you do it, the more you will be able to shoot during the hunt. So it should be a priority to get your Wyvern Fire out. I just never follow that advice because I don't pay attention. I never follow, well, I sometimes do, but on occasion I don't follow my own advice. So, yeah. I became ruined after playing Generations Ultimate. That took away my habit of doing Wyvern Fire at the start, like immediately, because in that game, you actually have to build up your heat gauge before doing a Wyvern Fire, which just, you know, I had to unlearn the habit of immediately doing a Wyvern Fire for that reason. And as a result, every game that I've played since, I just haven't had that muscle memory of looking for that opportunity to Wyvern Fire at the start. Cocoa, unfortunately, has bit the dust. Bitten the dust? I don't like that word, or that phrase. If I had said bit the dust, that sounds very illiterate and simultaneously American. But anyway. I think it's bitten the dust. You know, it's like how in the US, it's actually very common to, instead of saying dragged, hand on heart, they say drug. They actually say drug instead of dragged. I mean, that is some of the most shocking shit I've ever heard in my life. But it's common over there to say drug instead of dragged. Well, not super common. Maybe it depends on which state you're from. But, Jesus, I've heard that a lot. Dragged sounds dumb. Okay, that's what we would call a cultural disconnect. But that's alright. The world would be a boring place if we were all the same, would it not? I think I have another Wyvern Fire ready to go. Yeah, it is just the single Baleful. I think because of the quest that I was doing last time, I sort of had it in my head that there would be another Giganox hanging around, but no, this is just the single. Which is good news. It means hopefully we'll be able to move on to another non-Giganox quest promptly, once we have killed this one. I think I just witnessed a Wyvern Fire just barely coming out from Elder Melder before he got hit. Ow. Lots of diving going on. The pixelated item usage, I guess box, you could, I don't know what to call it, you know, the part of the screen where it shows what you're going to use in terms of items, the pixelated nature of that is disconcerting and slightly distracting, but I'm sure I'll get used to it in time. Not sure if you guys particularly care, but I suppose it's possible that the HD mod for this game will improve over time and be added upon. I just hope it doesn't become overdone like the 4U one. I mean, as I was explaining earlier on in the live stream, I think that went too far. I didn't like the style of it. I think if you're going to do an HD mod, like something that is designed to be an upgrade rather than just an actual change to the visual appearance of the game, you should try to be as faithful to the original as possible. So instead of having like very cartoonish looking icons, maybe you could just have something that is a higher resolution version of the original icons. But that's not how they chose to do it in the 4U version, so maybe I would rather these shitty pixelated icons. In fact, it's not the icon itself that's pixelated, it's all of the stuff around the icon that's pixelated, particularly the number and the little circle around the number. That's terrible. I mean, compare it to the text that says potion underneath it. That's not good. So can I shield it? Yes. Yes, I can. One of the things that, I mean, I might talk about the font of the HD version not being very exciting, but I'll tell you what, I'd rather take this generic font over the absolutely wacky and aesthetically displeasing font of the original version. The original font, just, again, it looks like something out of a bad cartoon. It looks terrible. I remember when I first saw the 3DS version visually of this game, I almost couldn't believe how bad it looked compared to the Wii U version. Not just in terms of the textures or the resolution, but particularly the user interface. It's just shocking. But, you know, maybe I was a little more sensitive to it by dint of having played only the Wii U version for so long. I've gotten a bit used to speed sharpening from my 4 Ultimate Gun Lance set. It's alright. What are my skills? So I've gone for Razor Sharp. As long as I've got a sharpness-related skill on my Gun Lance set, it'll do. That obviously is dependent upon the mixed set that I can make. Obviously accommodating the guard and the shooting aspects of the gun lance. If Razor Sharp is easier or actually possible to get in conjunction with those skills rather than speed sharpening or sharpness +1, then that's what I will go for. I will go for whatever sharpness skill is going to work in conjunction with the other skills. That is going to change from game to game because you will have different choices of armor from game to game. I can't quite remember what my Generation's Ultimate loadout is, nor my Portable Third loadout. I wish I could remember these things, but again, that is the curse of playing too many different Monster Hunter games. I can't remember these things. Haha, AJ has come in. Looks like we have... I've mentioned him before. Hey AJ, he is a person that I can actually, of my viewers, play emulated 3DS Monster Hunter with, and he has now joined the room, which is very good news. Alrighty. I actually don't think that we get messages indicating that a person has joined the room while we're on a quest. I don't know what that's about. It could be related to the option to allow messages to appear in HUN. I didn't think that there would be such an option because I don't think you can actually type in-game in the 3DS version. But maybe you can. And even if you can't, maybe there is still an option that relates to join notifications and people leaving the room as well. I'll have to look through the options. I don't even know what the damn options are for the 3DS version. I don't know if I've gone through them or not. Alright. AJ is here. In fact, he was the person that I tested the game with in my own time. And here we are. Ironically, in OBS, this window capture that I have is named For Ultimate. I'll have to change it to 3DS Monster Hunter. Fortunately, I don't have to change it because, you know, same layout from 3 Ultimate to 4 Ultimate. I suppose it makes sense that it would be the same, but it actually would be very annoying if I had to have different cropping options across the 2 games. Alright. Obviously I'm just leaving these guys to post as they need to. They are the ones with the key quests and presumably the greater need to build their characters. So it is their show today. They have 2 people giving them a hand with whatever it is they need to get done. Oh yeah, options. What do we got? So, defaults, we'll reset everything to defaults, I suppose is that. Orientation, I'm not seeing any online option that would allow for messages to appear during hunts, so that suggests to me that there is no such option. Pretty obvious. Actually, what was put on the... It was Nibblesnarf. Usually when I have checked the quest on the board and then promptly forgotten it by the time I got to the prep area, that usually means that I have permanently forgotten, but no. I just momentarily forgot this time, which is good. It's basically me not having actually internalized the information when I looked at it. It's like when you check the time and then you still don't know what the time is. It happens. You were either distracted by something else, or were too busy thinking about something else when you went to check the time. That's what happens with me. I'm conducting a live stream and having conversations with myself and to you. So sometimes I don't internalize what I've looked at on the quest board. What would be fun to use? Oh no, the background noise has returned. That just means I have to make the game much louder. It's the only way around it. It sounds much louder for me than it does for you, but it is what it is. I've been extremely fortunate that it has disappeared for the majority of the live stream. Like literally 98% of the live stream has been background noise free. But yeah. What am I going to use? I could actually use a ranged loadout. God. Yeah, that background noise really is nasty, isn't it? What are you talking about, the ship? What is the ship? Oh, you mean the... Oh, okay. So it sounded like the horn of a ship. I see what you mean. Yeah, I suppose it does sound like that now that I think about it. Yeah, so remember, I'm in the future. You guys are in a much... how do I even describe it? Your time zone is way behind mine. So when the world ends, I'm going to know about it first. So that is literally... Those are the horns of the fallen angels coming to claim our lives. So yeah, but what am I going to do about it? I'll just continue playing Monster Hunter. I'm doing my best to make the game as loud as possible so that you can't hear it. Drown out the sounds. I still need to make a decision as to what the hell I'm going to use. How about, let's just go hammer. Let's, like, fuck it. I don't remember the last time I used a hammer against a Nibblesnarf, though. That's actually a good point. I don't remember when I last did. I could use the Baroth Ravine Maker. My god, I haven't used that hammer in... Well, I don't know if you guys have ever seen me use this hammer on camera. Oh, well, I do actually have slots for guild cards, so I will accept them. I actually have to figure that out for Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. I do not actually have space for guild cards in that game, so I'll need to delete some that I have zero... What's the word? Maybe I'll find out. It is Unity. I have 0 Unity with some people that I have in my guild card list, and so deleting those guild cards will take priority. But yeah, I'm only going to do 1 or 2 more hunts at any rate. I've had a pretty substantial live stream today, so yeah, even though the background noise is pretty nasty, I do consider myself very fortunate to have escaped it for the majority of the live stream, so yeah, I'm happy with it. Shit, I am going to have to sell this stuff, or at least some of it. Let's find out. One thing that really frustrates me about this version of Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate is that as I put the material away in my box, I can't actually see the number that's in my box. I can only see if it's created a new stack, which I suppose isn't terrible, but I'd like to know the amount. Yeah, it has been 2 hours. Well, I'm glad that it was so enjoyable for you that the time went just like that. Okay, so the game itself is going to be very loud, I think. I will have to monitor it. I don't want to be... oh, fuck, I forgot hot drink. Knew there'd be something. But yeah, I just have to monitor how loud the game is. I do want it to be loud enough to drown out the background noise, but I don't want it to be so loud that it drowns out my actual voice. So, yeah, I'll monitor things. It'll probably be manageable. We'll see. Oh, thank you, AJ. This is a dangerous spot for us to transact... okay, very good. No, stop. Maybe I could have held off on drinking the hot drink. It really wasn't that pressing of a disadvantage. Let's see if I know how to actually hammer this monster. I mean, he's got a big head, so it shouldn't be difficult, right? In theory, it should be easy to hammer this monster. If you've got a sonic bomb, that would work very well with that bomb. That's one of the best strategies that you can employ against a Nibblesnarf. Drop a bomb, and then drop a sonic bomb while he's under the sand, over the top of the bomb. Now, the sonic bomb will actually bring the Nibblesnarf to where you've thrown it, and simultaneously, because it is a sonic bomb, it won't destroy the bombs or cause them to ignite. No, I don't really keep track of who follows and who doesn't, Willie. I can assure you that if I were to be bothered by something like that, I would have become far too offended to continue doing Twitch live streams. The number of people who will actually be there for an entire live stream and then decide that the entertainment that you have provided for them is not worthy of ever being experienced again. It's a large number of people. You can't take it personally, that's all I can say. It is what it is. Oh, almost did an upswing on AJ there. Glad that I didn't. That hammering is getting ever so closer. And ever more frustrating. Aha. Let's get in there, see if I can get the... no, the super pound unfortunately hit the... aha. Hit the claw. To finish that sentence, I did manage to get my KO. I shouldn't be patting myself on the back too much for that. This is a monster that has a very large head. So... and it seems that even when he is partially submerged in the sand, I can get my KO damage on his jaw. So it's pretty easy to get KO build up on this monster. It's just, this is not a monster that I use hammer on, so I wasn't entirely sure how the hunt was going to play out. But it seems to be fine. The Baroth Ravine Maker hammer is a hammer that I had made literally like 11 years ago. It was one of my first hammers in the game. Well, one of my first G rank hammers, I should say. I made it when I was maybe HR6, HR7. Oh, I'm sorry, that... I don't mind hitting people away if it involves actually hitting the monster. Sort of a sacrifice that I'm willing to make if I'm magnetizing to the head. But that is not what happened there. I just inanely upswung a person, and the team received no benefit from that. Alright. That is... Nibblesnarf dispatched. Goodbye. I've said this before, and I will say it again. There is a contingent of people in the Monster Hunter community who despise this monster, and I don't understand it. I don't know why people dislike this monster. I think he's fine. You know, I'm not saying that he's an incredible monster, I'm not saying that he blows my mind, I'm not saying that my life changed when I first hunted the Nibblesnarf. I am, however, saying that there is nothing particularly wrong with this monster. I don't know why he gets such a bad rap these days. And I do mean these days, it's a common thing. It's in the Portable Third community, I think, specifically. I don't know if I've heard people complaining about it, either in this game or in, say, Generations Ultimate. I haven't seen it. But in the Portable Third community, for some reason, this monster is despised. It just doesn't make sense to me. Those are the same people who love Dodogama for no reason. As I say, the world would be a boring place if everyone thought the same way, but it has to be said that I don't fucking understand where they're coming from. I'm not saying that you have to think the monster is amazing, but I don't understand why you hold the monster in such low regard. That doesn't make sense to me. But anyway. Diablos, however, that monster sucks. I hate Diablos. And it's not like it's a badly designed fight, it's just miserable. I don't like it. Well, Kushala's definitely shit. Kokoa actually just stole my seat from underneath me, literally. It's quite an unseemly way to behave, actually, in a social setting. Imagine you're about to go and sit down at a seat and someone literally just sidles in front of you and sits down in the seat. Like, that's awful. Awful behavior. Oh, fucking Giganox again. Fortunately, it's a double quest with Barioth, but this is now the third baleful Giganox that I've fought in this livestream, which is unusual because that is not a subspecies that you often fight, to be honest. What's going to make this fight fun? Well, to start with, I can't use a fire weapon because, needless to say, Baleful Giganox is not weak to that. So, something weird. Actually, quite sadly, I was about to use the Eisenfaust, which is like the worst greatsword in the game, but is still technically usable in G-rank hunts. But then I realized that the last time I used the Eisenfaust, which was in the Wii U version, it was in this exact quest, I think, so I'm going to try and break up the repetition of that strategy, or that course of action, by using something entirely different to that. I could use the Bushido. Oh, Bushido's kind of cool, isn't it? How about we use that? So, just to make it really clear, I don't want anyone to labour under misapprehensions as to how I feel about these dual blades, or how I understand it to stack up against other weapons, but the Bushido with Awaken is not as good as the Brachydios dual blades. Not at all. It probably is about 80% as good as the Brachydios dual blades. However, they are not the Brachydios dual blades, and for that reason, they are more fun to use. It is only a slime value of 180. I do believe that the amount of damage that it does as a pair of dual blades, so that is to say, the actual attack value, is notably higher than the Brachydios dual blades, but obviously the amount of slime damage that you're going to be dealing is more significant in a game like this, where the slime status is so grossly overpowered. So, yeah. By virtue of the fact that the Brachydios Dual Blades has considerably more slime, and also a very acceptable amount of raw damage, the frequency of slime explosions when using the Brachydios Dual Blades is going to yield better results in a hunt than the Bushido, but whatever. These are still fun to use, I enjoy using them, and they're kind of cool as well. It's the event weapon that you get from hunting giant rust Duramboros. Can't remember what the event item is off the top of my head. It's like a little, it has a little dagger icon, or a throwing knife icon. That's a very satisfying way to flinch this monster. He just drops. Drops to the ground. Well, I'll just sit here and wait. Oh, get out of the way of it! That's the worst thing, when you're actually being pushed towards it by the movements of the monster. That's terrible. Alright, see you, potato. This may be the last hunt anyway. In fact, it will be. So you're not going to miss out on much more. Oh, I'm actually at risk of dying. Oh, Jesus. What's that? Oh, it's the burial. If you're wondering why I couldn't identify the roar, it is because I have a large drill in my ears, which is hopefully less audible for you than it is for me. But it is loud enough in my ears that I can't really hear the game properly. My hope is that the Baleful Giganox will die soon enough for us to not have to worry too much. Well, that's good. That means everything is going according to plan, Willie. If you can't fucking notice it, that's good news. But anyway. My hope is that we'll be able to kill this Baleful Giganox before the Barioth becomes a problem, but I suppose we haven't really been in combat for it for that long, or with it for that long. But, I can always cross my fingers. He does have reduced health, so one can always pray. I should mention that with the Bushido, because it has so little sharpness, once you drop from purple, you should just immediately sharpen back up to purple. That's the way to do it. Obviously, the best way to apply slime damage is the Demon Dance attack. But Demon Dance isn't always going to be the best way to hit the monster. That's obviously important to mention. If you're going to do a Demon Dance, and then the monster is only there to get hit by like 2 or 3 of your slashes, Demon Dance is officially not the best way to get your slime application. Technically, the best way to apply slime to the monster is to fucking hit the monster, so I should make that very clear. I say that only because a lot of people who use dual blades will almost exclusively use Demon Dance, which just doesn't work. Because if the monster is not going to be there to be hit by every single one of those slashes that you're doing, it's not the better choice. It's just not. Where the hell is this monster? I went in every direction except for where he actually went, which is unhelpful. Fuck's sake. I mean, they're continuing to fight the Barioth, which... Are you for real? Where did it go? It didn't die. It didn't, like, disappear into the ether. It must have gone somewhere. Am I going insane? Well, we're actually at risk of failing the damn hunt, because We've already had a death and two of them, or rather two of our hunters are close to death, so that's not great. I just don't understand what's happening. Am I crazy, or did the baleful Giganox actually evaporate into thin air? He's gone somewhere. Actually, I do have Psychoserums in this game. Oh, fuck you. I didn't see you over there. Maybe he was sleeping or something. No, he couldn't have been. He's already moving around, so... I don't know what happened there, but... I completely missed him. Completely missed him. One of the things that I dislike the most when hunting multiplayer is when you've almost, or not necessarily almost killed one monster, but you've dealt a significant amount of damage to one monster, it leaves the area, and then the team just keeps fighting the thing that's still in the area, even though minimal damage has been dealt to it. That pisses me off, you know. It doesn't make sense as a strategy. It's sort of it's a form of laziness. It's like, oh, I don't want to chase this other monster, but the reality is that you're better off reducing the length of time that's going to be spent hunting two monsters at the same time. Now, this circumstance is more acceptable because the monster was almost dead. You can actually justify it there, because if the monster's almost dead, you don't actually need the whole team to be focusing on that weaker monster. But that is one of my pet peeves, when you're hunting with a group of 4, and the monster you've been fighting for the last 5 minutes leaves, and then instead of continuing to hunt that one, they just stick around and hunt the one that's just joined the area that no one's hit yet. I hate that shit. But again, I'd say it's a little different if the other one's literally almost dead. AJ fortunately is able to use elemental shots on this monster, and then whatever would be effective for the Baleful. It's one of the benefits to a bowgun. Wasn't really in a bowgun mood, to speak for myself. We've got a limp. That's pretty fast. As I mentioned before, sharpening straight back up to purple once we drop. Because we're like, it's probably 5 hits with the dual blades to drop sharpness levels, just about. Tiny slivers of white and blue once you drop down from purple. I should mention, honestly, these dual blades are not really usable if you don't have sharpness +1. I would strongly advise against that. Just don't use it if you don't have sharpness +1, it's not worth it. That is actually the problem with the Bushido dual blades. It is not just that you need sharpness +1, you also really need Awaken for them to be worth using. So 2 skills really required to make use of these dual blades, which is not great. But if you're in the end game and you just want to use weapons for fun, it's fine. So we did have a brief stint in Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate during this recording, as necessitated by the fact that a guy who was HR1 basically forced us to do his shit. But for the most part, this was a 3 Ultimate livestream, which was good. I'm somewhat tempted to cut the 4 Ultimate stuff out of the VOD, but I'll make that decision when I upload the VOD. But yeah, for the first 3DS emulation livestream that I've done since the closure of the Nintendo servers on the Wii U and the 3DS, I'd say this went relatively smoothly. I do hope you all enjoyed. I will do 3 Ultimate as often as the community's interest in the game allows. So if none of them are bloody playing it, I'm not going to be playing it either. Quite obviously, but if they are playing it, and if I'm able to find people to play with, I will live stream it for you. That is the situation. Thank you to AJ for joining me, and also thank you to this team for playing and allowing me to actually record some hunts in the game. I will see you all when I'm next live, and I will bid you all farewell for now. Bye bye.